Good morning. Welcome to the weekend. The weekend started last night, but it's Saturday morning, 8:25 right now on November 23rd, here from Western Iowa. Good morning. Turning much colder as we get to Thanksgiving and especially after Thanksgiving. Now, the Southwest, you're exempt. No wonder there are snowbirds that head to southern Arizona this time of year. Now, I took this picture yesterday morning. Outside right now, it looks exactly like this. I posted on Facebook, Mike, what's it like in Iowa in the winter? And it's pretty much this every morning, except sometimes with snow. And that's about it. And then my brother gets in there and goes, "Is that your girlfriend's car?" Everyone makes fun of my chick car. And so then my response was, "Of course not. If since I have a car like this, I don't have a girlfriend." That's funny stuff. All right. Hazards for today. Here's what's going on. It's cold in the southeast. Freeze warnings are up. Alabama, Mississippi. Freeze watches. Mississippi, Alabama along the Mississippi River. We head north and west. That's our big mess. Winter storm warnings for the Sierra Nevada of California. If you watch Storm Runner Media on the YouTubes, they're couple guys who storm chase, and they're up in the Sierra Nevada today, so they'll be showing you those scenes later on. I'll be probably in the chat at least part of the day. I have to work today too, so that's okay. We get into Utah, Wyoming, up into Montana. We're looking at, what are we looking at? It looks like winter weather advisories. They're in the blue. And then you get to winter storm warnings. They're way up in northern Montana, a little bit of Idaho as well. And a red flag warning for parts of Wyoming with some wind, and that's you too in West Virginia. Let's head to the European model today, shall we? We'll mix things up a little bit. We'll look at the GFS too. But we're starting out this morning here on the European. Big snowstorm yesterday here in central PA, very wet snow. Heavy wet snow, a lot of power outages, just kind of a mess. And then for the west, our big west mess here, look at that heavy rain and snow in the Sierra Nevada this morning. Just kind of nuts. All right, we'll go through time. This gets us through today. See the scattered snow in the west. Windy, but exiting storm for the northeast. And we see warmer temperatures moving into the plains this weekend that will be short-lived because we're looking at some very cold air up here in Canada that's going to be dropping south. And so as we get into Sunday, tomorrow, this is noontime tomorrow, Central Time, another system moving into the Pacific Northwest, some light snow here in the Central Rockies, moving into the plains. So a little bit of snow for South Dakota, parts of Nebraska. As we get into, this is midnight Sunday, and we see a cold front coming down. It's going to move all the way down into Texas as we get into Monday morning. And so that cold front coming down, a little bit of light snow up here in the northern Great Lakes around Lake Superior. It's rain, northern Michigan. And then here's our cold front with some showers and storms out ahead of that. And a bit, again, very heavy snow for the Sierra Nevada. Rain moving south into California, and snow on the other side of the Cascades in Oregon. This gets us to midnight right here, Monday night. So moving into Tuesday now, our cold front with some showers sweeping across the east. Snow moving into the Rockies, very heavy rain and snow for California moving central and south. We see more snow up here in New England now. With a little bit of a low forming, so some snow in Maine, but some rain in Vermont, New Hampshire. This gets us Tuesday at noon, and we see more exiting snow for the Northeast, more snow for Colorado, and we see a little bit of light snow now, Nebraska into northwestern Iowa, close to where I live. Maybe a little bit of snow here the day before Thanksgiving. This gets us, this is Wednesday afternoon. Day before Thanksgiving, a little bit of snow here for parts of the Midwest into Iowa, which is the Midwest, into the plains. South Dakota is the plains, and some snow here in Colorado. And then as we get, it looks like some light snow for a few hours as we get to midnight Wednesday night, and then This is early Thanksgiving morning, so here's where hopefully you're already where your destination with snow moving from Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York. It's going to rain. It's going to snow a lot. Thanksgiving Day, Pennsylvania, New York. It clipped a little bit of New Jersey, but changing back to rain as we get through Thanksgiving. That's where that heaviest snow will be. All right, that's the end of the European run. Now, if you bear with me real quick, I'm going to go through, hopefully that's the GFS. I think that's the GFS. We'll find out. Did I get it? I think so. And let me move it over. Yes, the GFS. All right, I'm going to go faster now, but there are some differences. So this is this morning, and then this gets us through today and into tomorrow. We see some similar trends. Maybe not as heavy on the rain and snow in California until we get to Monday. This is Monday afternoon. You see rain in the Great Lakes and that cold front with showers ahead of it, with rain in New England mostly for the 26th. This gets us to the biggest travel day of the year. This is Wednesday afternoon. This has this area much further south. No snow here. It's more Colorado, Texas Panhandle. And yeah, pretty far south, getting towards Lubbock and falling apart. Some colder air here again. This is midnight the day before Thanksgiving. So I would say probably the GFS has better traveling conditions. And then Thanksgiving does not have a big snowstorm for Pennsylvania, New York until the 29th. And then it's further towards the shore. So, some differences between the European and also the GFS. Now, the GFS has some snow into western Iowa on the 30th. And so that's our snow chance according to the GFS. So really interesting to see the differences. All right, let's get back to today, and we'll go through the weekend and next weekend too. So here are your 24-hour temperature change. A little bit cooler in the Midwest this morning down to the southeast, a little bit warmer mid-Atlantic and for the plains, and then cooler for the Pacific Northwest and Northern California. Your anomalous temperatures today, warmer than average, Rockies and plains, cooler than average for the east for the most part, and turning much cooler than average for the northern plains. And that cold air is coming, 25, 30 degrees below average moving into Montana. But ahead of that, warming up, New Mexico, Texas, into the plains and into the Midwest out ahead of our cold air invasion. But Monday, the cold air invades, sinking all the way into Texas with temperatures back below average and much below average up there in the northern plains. Surface for today, here's what's going on in the Northwest. Rain and snow, heavy snow, Sierra Nevada, Oregon, Idaho, maybe some freezing rain, Montana, heavy snow, Montana. And then a mixture of rain and snow for the Great Lakes and east. Highs today, it is warming up in the plains. We're going to be here in southwestern Iowa near 50 maybe. And so yesterday we were in the 40s. After lows yesterday, 23, 25 this morning. But warming up in the plains. But you see how cold it is up in North Dakota, 20 for highs. And that's Minot, by the way. I looked it up after not knowing what it was yesterday. So that's Minot, North Dakota, 20. And you see the teens and even single digits lurking in Saskatchewan and Alberta. Surface for tomorrow. We see our western storm progressing into the Rockies with snow, Wyoming, Montana. A little bit for North Dakota and South Dakota too. A little bit Nebraska too. But still raining and snowing in the west, and a mixture for the northeast. Highs tomorrow, again, warmer in the plains. Will be mid-50s here, southwestern Iowa. But the colder air making a little bit more progress in the northern plains with 20s. North Dakota sinking into South Dakota, and some teens up there in Montana, and meanwhile 70s and 80s for Texas. 48-hour precipitation, here's where the rain and snow will be, and it's going to be northeast and northwest, and especially along the Oregon, Washington, Northern California coast, a couple inches of rain, not out of the question, even more for some. And say off the coast of Maine, you're looking at approaching an inch maybe of rain or the snow equivalent. Here is where the snow will be, and mostly in the northwest. And the heaviest, of course, Sierra Nevada, you're looking at 2 more feet of snow on top of what you already have, maybe even close to 3. Very heavy in parts of Idaho, Montana, Utah into Colorado and Wyoming, and a lot of the ski resorts are already open across the west or will be opening this weekend. Light snow along the Canadian border the next couple days, and also in the northeast we see a little bit of snow there as well. Getting into Monday, there's our cold front sinking into Texas and moving into the Midwest and Great Lakes. We see more rain breaking out, and we showed you that line of storms, showers and storms moving eastward, and could be some cold air at the surface with the overrunning rain for freezing rain, New York, Vermont, New Hampshire. And then we see the west with rain and snow. The heaviest will be California mountains. All right, we're going to go through the highs Monday through next weekend because, you get your forecast through the weekend or your time back. So highs Monday, cooling off in the northern plains and Midwest. We see some teens up there by the Canadian border. Still warm, Texas, some 80s, 70s across the southeast. And we get into Tuesday, we see that colder air moving more east than the south, but getting into Minnesota and Wisconsin. It is cooling off here in Iowa, low 40s for highs, and cooling off a little bit in the plains, and still warm for most of Texas, but a lot of Texas getting cooler. But hanging on to the warmth along the Gulf Coast, Houston 75. Very nice. Wednesday. Here we go. Wednesday, the heat tries to bubble back up into Texas. So more 80s here, 70s across the southeast, but cooler in the central plains and into the Midwest and the northeast. And that very cold air on Thanksgiving, making a little bit more progress into the plains and into the Rockies, but the south and southwest staying on the warm side for highs on Thanksgiving. Take a good look. Where I live here in southwestern Iowa, looks like mid-30s for highs. And then Thanksgiving, snow on the ground. Now, we showed you that the European has a little bit of light snow day before Thanksgiving, and the GFS has a little bit of snow, maybe a little more than that, on the 30th. This is a blend of all the models, and this is total snowfall from now until Thanksgiving, so not necessarily all of it on the ground, but we do see the plains into the Midwest, an inch or 2, and then, of course, greater amounts in the Rockies and Northwest in the mountains. And we do see an inch or 2 in the Ohio Valley moving into the Northeast, and then greater amounts as you get into upstate New York, off the lakes, where some lake effect snow thrown in here as well. So that's your snowfall between now and Thanksgiving, a blend of all of the models. Highs on Black Friday, which, I don't know, Black Friday seems to last a month now, and it's mostly online. I miss the days where the long lines and the fights on the news the next day. I know, it's entertaining. All right, highs on Friday. So 20s Iowa. So we do see colder air moving in. Teens, even single digits in North Dakota. Minot, I think that's -1. So some negative highs getting into the United States as we get into Friday. This is 6-7 days from now. 30s and 40s across much of the country, hanging on to 50s and some 60s in Texas and 60s across the southeast. The place to be, if you like the warm stuff, is the desert southwest. Highs on Saturday. Warming back up Texas, cooling off more in the Midwest. We see mid-20s across most of Iowa, even some teens. Mid-20s getting into northern half of Illinois and Indiana. And, below freezing highs into the northeast as well. So cold air is coming. Sunday. Yes, a week from tomorrow. Some teens getting into Iowa, probably around 20 where I live in Harlan. Single digits all the way up there in Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota teens, Nebraska 20s, but some 40s into Kansas, Missouri, and 50s and 60s in the southeast, because you're looking at highs in the 40s there in western Tennessee. This is again Sunday. So cold air is coming after Thanksgiving in particular, and for the central northern plains, Midwest, Great Lakes East especially, but cooling off other places as well. 8 to 14 day temperatures. There you see coldest, best chance for coldest. Eastern half of the country, best chance for warmest, southwest. And precipitation-wise, pretty dry most areas, but above average chances for especially into Montana, but also the northern plains thrown in. Throw in Florida into Georgia and South Texas too. Changes, they are coming. Winter is on its way just in time for the start of winter, which is December 1st, meteorologically speaking. And we will keep you posted as we go. So 200 subs, we hit it yesterday. So I'm pumped about that. And thank you so much for that. And so that's encouraging. But we'll see you tomorrow, or if not tomorrow, Monday for sure. Sunday in church and all that stuff. But I might be able to sneak one in tomorrow. If not, we'll see you on Monday right here on the Weather Mic.